In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at scheduling. How do you add schedules and what options do you have for adding schedules? So we're going to start by moving into groups and schedules. You'll notice that you have a standby group in the top. This is a group for screens that you haven't yet deployed. Below that one, you will find my personal group. It's called My Group. You will also notice that I have something called a base playlist. In my case, I've chosen the one called Open. I can remove this one and I can pick any of my other playlists, but I'm going to stick with Open for now. In the gray area, you'll see what screens are in your group, and you can of course drag and drop your screens to and from this group. On the left side, you'll find the Publish button. This is whenever you do changes to your group or you add or remove schedules, you hit the Publish button to tell all your screens to pull down the latest content. Moving into schedules is the place for settings for your group and schedules for your group. The top is your group name. You can of course rename your group if that's necessary. You also have the way of picking your base playlist right here in your settings. You also have an overview of the screens in the group, and again you also have the Publish button. Of course, you can remove your group, but keep in mind that removing the group would require that there are no screens in this group. So a short explanation in regards of our base playlist. The base playlist up here is the playlist that will always play unless there's a scheduling rule that overrules it, which means if you don't have any schedules, this is the playlist that will be playing for all screens in this group. When you add schedules, those schedules will overrule the base playlist. With that said, I'm going to give you a short introduction to our timeline and the scheduling, and then I'm going to show you a couple of examples. So first of all, this is our timeline. The timeline will show you what is going on. And in my case, of course, I don't have any schedules. So you will see it doesn't matter how much I zoom in or out on my timeline, it will show that it's always displaying the playlist called Open. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to add a schedule and the options you have when adding a schedule. When I add a schedule, you'll notice that a new line was added to our timeline. And in a moment you will see how that line actually adjusts itself according to whatever dates, days or times we set up for the schedule. So the first thing is of course giving it a name, and then toggle on and off repeat daily. If it's off, the schedule will be based from a start to end point of view. If you toggle it on, it will be based on days of the week. So for example, you can say Monday to Friday and from 8 to 4 p.m. and you will notice that the timeline automatically adjusts. You see I haven't selected a playlist yet. Then let's do that. Let's go with Open. No, actually, let's go with the noon playlist. So right away on the fly, you don't have to save or anything. You will see that the timeline adjusts according to whatever changes you make. And you will also see that you now have nothing for the weekend, and then for every day of the week you have a schedule saying from 8 a.m. to 16, also known as 4 p.m., you will be displaying another playlist than the base playlist. The first example I am going to show you is probably the most common thing to do when you're scheduling content. You want something to be displayed on your screens when you're open and something else when you're closed. So let's start by adding our first schedule. And since the time range for the open hours is the shortest, then we're going to create a schedule based on that and then use the base playlist as our closed rule. So I'm going to call this open. I will repeat daily, and I will only have this running on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I will put in 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then I'm going to pick my open playlist. Now, as you can see, everything is actually saved on the fly. And if we zoom out on our timeline, you will see that it's represented in here in the timeline, in the result. Now I'm going to scroll up, and then in my base playlist, instead of the open playlist, I'm going to pick our closed playlist. So again, if we look into our timeline, we will see that from 8 till 4, we are playing the open playlist. From 4 to 8 the next day, we will be playing the closed playlist. I'm going to remove this schedule again, and I'm going to scroll up. I will leave my base playlist as closed, and then I'm going to show you another example. An example where you schedule your content throughout the day. So let's just say, I'm going to add a schedule here. Let's just say that we want to display something for morning, something for around noon, and something for the evenings. And I'm going to call this first schedule morning. I will toggle on repeat daily, pick only the weekdays, pick a playlist also called the morning. Then I will input 8 a.m. till noon. And we can of course zoom out to check, did that work? Yes, it did. That looks great. Then add another schedule. We will call this noon, and also repeat daily, only weekdays. Let's start it at 12 till 4 p.m. and let's zoom out, see, okay, we need to pick our playlist. I'm going to go with noon, then add the third. I will call that evening, repeat daily, Saturdays, Sundays off, and we will start this at 1600 or 4 p.m. and we will end it at 2100, sorry. And again, finally, we're going to pick one of our playlists. Zooming out on this will, well, let's zoom out a bit further, and you will see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and there's nothing for the weekends. And let's zoom in on tomorrow, which tells us in the result line that it's going to be closed up until 8. Then we are running the morning playlist. At 12 we are running the noon playlist. At 1600 we're running the evening playlist, and then at 2100 we're closed again. So the last example, I'm just gonna reset all of this. The last example I want to show you is a schedule based on a date. This could, for example, be for holidays or special events, whatever that either requires a date, one day, or a date range multiple days. So I will add a schedule, and let's call this schedule holiday. We're not toggling on repeat daily. We are going to find and choose our holiday playlist. And then in this case, we're going to add a schedule that are for the Christmas holidays. So I will pick out December 24th. And let's say we start this when December 24th starts, which is at midnight or just past midnight. I'm also going to pick a stop date, in this case December 31st, and again we're going to stop this at the end of the day at midnight. Here is December, and as you can see, on the 24th of December we are running the holiday playlist uninterrupted until the 31st at midnight. I guess this is more or less the basics of scheduling, and of course scheduling can become way more advanced. You can mix time, date, and day-based schedules with each other. The most important thing to understand is when you add your schedules, keep an eye on the result line, the line that you always have in the top, because that's what's going to tell you what's going to play on my screens in this group on that specific time of day, or on that specific day, or on that specific date.